10 years ago, at the first Boston Marathon since the 2013 bombing, his win was seen as a symbol of hope and resilience. Meb Keflezighi crossed the finish line in a stunning 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds, becoming the first American man to win the race in over 30 years. Now, a decade on, he's gearing up to run the race again, with a different goal this time. Meb Keflezighi joins me now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So that year when you won the Boston Marathon, you ran with the names of those who had died the year before written on your bib. Can you just take us through what it was like for you that day, crossing the finish line and knowing that you'd won the first year after that marathon bombing?
You know, coming to the 2014 Boston Marathon, the slogan was Boston Strong, and the city of Boston showed how strong they are with the catastrophic moment from the 2013. The lives and the limbs that we lost, you can't get them back. So in honor of the victims that passed away, Martin, Crystal, Sean, and Ling, I decided to write it. I think it was the night before. I was visualizing, I'm a believer, so I wanted to have a cross and then have their pictures on it. But then how am I going to take it out when I'm running? So I just decided to write with a Sharpie. I want to write bigger, but I was kind of consciousness of the sponsors also, how they're going to take it, not to tamper with the bib. But I wrote with a Sharpie, and I felt the spirit. You know, the city felt the spirit. They just wanted to show resilience to be able to come back on the streets of Boston, especially Boylston, among us 36,000 other participants. They wanted to do something positive to show that we cannot be stopped. We want to show the resilience to be able to come back stronger than before and to carry those names. I was hurting pretty bad, but I just kept praying in my native tongue, Tigrinya or in English, to tell them, give me the spirit, give me the spirit. And it was a risky move that I did with 20 miles to go from the finish line that I took the lead, but it was well worth it. And I definitely feel like the spirit, and then there was higher. I'm a believer, so God was there to help me get to that finish line, and the crowd was just fascinating.
Yeah, it was an incredible finish, and you really put the gas on at the last minute there to pull ahead in the last 5 miles, right? I understand that when you crossed the finish line, one of the first things you did was rush to the family of Martin Richards. Is that right?
Yeah, I was the first one to rush to my wife. That gave me a big hug, and actually the Martin Richard family were not in town, but they realized somebody called them to say, hey, they were on vacation because the memory of the marathon didn't serve them well. They didn't want to have to live through that. So they were on vacation, I believe. And they called them on their cell phone and says, hey, you might want to tune to the TV because there's an American in the lead and has your son's name on his bib. And then ever since they came. But as we got friends over the time, Denise and Bill were able to get the finish line. I kissed their hand to show respect. But also their son, Henry, also ran for my foundation, Meb Foundation, in New York last fall. So the friendship and the relationship is pretty strong.
And now, 10 years later, you're running the Boston Marathon again. Tell me about that and your foundation that you're running to support.
I don't know what I'm thinking, but I decided after running for Martin Richard Foundation and Team for Kids in New York, I decided that one day I want to do it for the Meb Foundation, which is maintaining excellent balance through health, education, and fitness to empower young kids. You know, as 10 years later, I thought it would bring some attention to the Meb Foundation and do the good work that we do, whether it's scholarships or giving out shoes. And I'm so delighted to be partnering up with New Balance to give out shoes in the future for the next generation to inspire them. And so now, as I lace up the shoes on Monday, April 15, 2024, it's going to be tough hills, tough course, but at the same time, when you're doing it for a greater cause, it means so much more. And the training has been pretty solid. I look forward to representing the Meb Foundation and the best that I can. And there's 15 others that are running for the Meb Foundation and other charity runners that are trying to do greater cause other than themselves.
Terrific, great. I'm sure there are people watching who are planning on joining you on that race route on Monday. Any advice for runners out there who will be running alongside you?
You know, the Boston Marathon is known to have a tough, hilly courses, but we do forget sometimes the slight downhill forces you to go faster. So I say put on your brakes on at the beginning for the first 5 miles and then start accelerating to the pace and goal you want to go. If you do that, coming over the Newton Hills, Heartbreak Hills, the downhill is pretty strong finish. It's a downhill finish, but you got to be able to have some energy and some gas to keep that momentum, the gravity take you down. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. The weather seems to be right. So just have fun. Save something for the end.
All right, and I know that you're also throwing out the first pitch at Fenway on, is it Sunday, I guess? Have you been practicing your throws?
A little bit, I'm so excited for that to happen. I was very nervous, especially the first time I did after I won the 2014 Boston Marathon. But yeah, they've been inviting me a couple of times to be able to do the first pitch. Such a great honor. So right. I've been visualizing a little bit, so looking forward to hopefully a good pitch.
Well, good luck with that and with this year's Boston Marathon. Meb Keflezighi, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.